So, welcome to our regular live show. If for those that don't know, she's Cheryl,
And he's Ken.
and one of the questions that we always like to ask people is, "Where are you watching from?" So, I'll put that question up there. And if you're watching on the replay, in other words, this is not you missed it, you didn't catch it live, you watch on the replay. Still, let us know where you watch from. I'll respond back to you. We always like to know. We're in our home office again, which is this is probably the longest special we've had in our home office uninterrupted in quite a while.
And we're Central Florida.
Yeah, Central Florida. Also, if you have questions and comments, do me a favor, put them in the chat.
Comments.
Tonight we're going to talk about the rest of the trip. We got up to Whittier on the train last week. We're going to talk about the stops. On the ship. We got to Whittier on the ship. We did not take the train to Whittier. It would have been a pretty wet ride. But we're going to go north on the train and then a couple of bus rides. So we're looking forward to that discussion. And Cheryl's.
So Rhonda is telling us good evening from Lakeside.
Laundry and clear from here.
Okay, and Pam, how are you doing today? Pam says hello.
I hope the floods weren't anywhere near you, Pam. I saw it on the news. It was pretty bad.
Oh, well, Canada's just had a rough time this year.
And Kelly's watching us. Did you get her? From
Kelly.
Boston?
Hi, Kelly. Nice to see you. Pam, Rhonda says she paid her deposit for Alaska next year. Are you going? Yeah, that's what we want to know if Rhonda's going. She's going to us with us to Hawaii. So maybe she can make Alaska too.
Okay, and so what we're going to start with is I'm going to share the. Take that off. So here's the schedule, and I'm going to make this big for a minute so I can see it, but I lose my ability to see other things here. But so when we get into to Whittier, the ship actually docks in Whittier about midnight, but we need to be out and on the train at 7:15. You keep doing with it. It's just
I know.
Oh. And then when we're on the train, we have about a 5-hour train ride, puts us into Talkeetna at about 1:00. Now, there are a couple options we'll talk about in a minute, but from Talkeetna, it's about an hour out to the Wilderness Lodge because it is in the wilderness. It is 41 miles from Denali, and it actually is one of the places that has a really good look at Denali. It says we have our afternoon at leisure. So if you don't go straight out to the lodge, it's easier because you can, if you wanted to do some tours or if you wanted to see the town of Talkeetna, it's easier if you just stay there rather than go out and come back because it's an hour each way. So if you go out, it's an hour, and then you come back, it's an hour, and then you get back. So it'd be 3 hours tied up on the shuttle if you go all the way out to the lodge. I personally, if we go out to the lodge, I don't think we'll come back into town. And we'll look just at the options in just a section.
Well, we might as well then go down to the others.
And then I would say we leave the next morning. We have at 10, we get to Denali about noon. So actually I have some. So this is the view from the McKinley Wilderness Lodge. And you see it's pretty much out in the wilderness. And in the background, you can see the great one, Denali. And in fact, this day you can see both peaks of it. This is not a guaranteed view. And we'll talk about that. I think next week we'll talk about packing and clothing. But for this particular stop, if the skies are clear, you'll have a great view of Denali. If they're cloudy, less great. But you'll have a great place to sit and enjoy some Alaskan scenery. And I'll share, this is a little bit about the McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge. There's restaurants and bars, and there is a tree house that was on the Animal Planet show, Treehouse Masters. So that was designed. It's not accessible. If you can climb, you can get into it. There are walking trails that said ranger presentations, mountain climber presentation, and you'll see a bush pilot's plane out there. So there are some things to see and do when we're in there. There are some examples. We'll look at the excursions now. Give me 1 second. Over there. Take that out. Your screen. Okay, so these are some of the excursions that are available there. There's a 3-hour walk. No, it says moderate activity, no real details about that. It's evidently guided because you pay for it. You could probably find the map and do it yourself. But they have, for example, this river float trip, and it says it's customized for guests leaving the McKinley Lodge and departing by rail. So that wouldn't work for us. But if you're arriving by rail, there's another one. And, so they're a little different in time, how long they last. But you can come in on the train and then get this float trip. Not accessible. There's another one. There is this jet boat adventure that if you come in by rail, that you can do. They have a 52 passenger craft that sounds like it might not be too bad. I just don't know about how they board it and how you get off of it. I will.
Bad for accessibility.
Yeah, it's not going to be great for accessibility, but that and the rest of them are pretty much not accessible for your family members that don't have any accessibility limitations. If they're going, there's a lot of choices for them. Again, if you're going to do any of these trips where you can, I would say do them before you come out to the lodge. The exception being, this is an easy one, but again, you've got to be able to climb up into and out of the horse-drawn wagon. So thinking that's not going to work for accessibility. Again, quite a few other things. There's some flight seeing and zip lines. The kennels are not accessible because they don't have an accessible transport to get you there. Now, if you stay in town, you may be able to reach a different kennel there in town. I was looking at the excursions or what's available in Talkeetna, and I would say too, if you're going to shop in Talkeetna, stay there. Don't make the trip out
till you're finished shopping.
Yeah, till you're finished. Okay, and like I said, there's sport fishing, trail ride, flying tours. They get pretty pricey as you get up in this area. You get to fly up by the summit of Denali, and then if you wanted to land on a glacier, you can do that. A couple of them. So that's your choices really. I'll go back up here to the top. Actually, let me do this. Pull that out of that. Okay. Those are your choices really in things to do at the
Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah, at Mount McKinley Wilderness Lodge. Now we're going to talk about the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge in just a second because it's a little different. Let's see what we got here.
Comments.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, good.
I'm glad you're okay, Pam. Sorry about your brother.
Yeah. Canada's just had a rough year, really.
Yeah, that means you got to probably get off the ship about 6:30 or so. Means you got to eat an early breakfast probably in the buffet. Yeah, it's gonna be.
But you know what? Then you'll have, if you just stay at the lodge for the day, then you'll have an easy evening. So
Yeah,
I'm thinking some, hot chocolate, looking out at the snowy mountains, taking it easy. Because for me, even riding on the train and all that, and moving and changing every day is tiring. So I don't know that I want an excursion every day.
That. Okay. So now I'm going to go back up here to our schedule. Let me make this big so I can see it. Okay, so the next morning we leave it's not too bad. We leave at 10 o'clock. So you'll take your luggage and put it outside. That's the nice thing is that your luggage will go with you without a lot of work on your part. I think you just basically either set it outside your door or leave it in your room, and they'll get your luggage and get it to the train. Now, I think when we go to McKinley, to the Denali Lodge, I think they ask you to only take one suitcase. Your other suitcase will show up at Fairbanks just because of space limitations. So when we get to Denali, we have some options, but what's scheduled for us is this natural history tour that leaves at about 2 o'clock and lasts till 7 o'clock in the evening. So again, you've been sitting for a while. You're going to probably want to rest and walk a little bit. You got an hour and a half to get lunch and on to the, have to get picked up for the ride. Now this bus is accessible. I'm not sure how many accessible seats, and I'll find the answer out to that question tomorrow. It may be that they'll have to split it up into 2 buses. I do not know the answer to that yet.
Yeah, and I don't know if a 5-hour tour, I don't know that I can do that.
But like I said, the bus is accessible. It makes a couple of stops. You have a fair chance of seeing some wildlife on it. And one of the things about this is our timing should be really good because we should be in the fall colors time up there. I'm kind of expecting that late in September that we should see a blaze of colors. And in some ways, that'll make wildlife spotting easier because they'll show up against the bright colors.
I have a question. They show you taking the tour and then showing up at the lodge. So you have to have the tour to get to the lodge?
No. Okay. The lodge is kind of in town. Okay. This lodge, actually, you can go into, I forget the name of the little town right there by Denali. But the lodge is right there kind of in town, so you can go into town and do shopping and do some stuff. There's also a couple of excursions. We'll talk about those here in just a second. We'll spend one night there, and then we have we leave at 10, get to Fairbanks at 1. At 1 o'clock, when we get to Fairbanks, we're going to do the riverboat ride, which is fully accessible. Get off at 5:30 and go to the hotel. The next morning, you're scheduled out. So that's the itinerary. So basically on Saturday, we get off the ship. Sunday, we're Saturday night at Mount McKinley, Sunday night in Denali, Monday night in Fairbanks. And then for those that want to transfer out, they'll get you to the airport. I am going to see about adding a day or two to that and see what kind of what we can work out on that for us, because go ahead and click that. For us, there's some things we want to see, and we'll go. Oh, yeah.
So Pam says she has an air bed you set up and take down every day. Yeah. So yeah, this part of the trip will be a little bit more. That's why I don't plan on doing. I'm not worried about not having an excursion at Talkeetna. I don't know if I can do the 5-hour bus tour. That's really be hard for me, but Ken will probably do it. I might just head over to the other lodge and have some more hot chocolate.
Yeah. Let's take that one out, and I'm going to add this one back. Okay. So when we get to this is the Denali Princess Lodge. Okay, scroll down. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've got excursions here. The dog kennel tour is, again, they showed us not accessible because they don't have transport to get you there. But this Music of Denali is a fairly short tour, 2 hours. It's an evening tour. I'm not sure exactly what time it leaves, so I don't know that you can make that work with the Denali trip. For me, Denali is more important than this, but that'd be an interesting tour. They also have a glass class that's available right there at the Princess Wilderness Lodge, where you make some glass. Click on the details. Scroll down a little bit. We'll pull up the details now. Scroll up. It'll pop up here in just a second. But basically...
Let's read special notes. It says, make etched diachronic fused glass pendant or a keychain from a local glass artist. You'll create 2 pieces, one for yourself, one for a friend. Be fired for 8 hours, enough to cool overnight, and picked up, or they'll ship it to you free of charge. You have to be 6 years old. Anyway, that sounds interesting because I love art, but I have to see what else I might want to do, and I don't know what the special notes are. So.
Oh, you just read it. It was the kids.
Oh, okay.
Just go back.
Oh, yeah. Okay, back. Okay,
so then there's some, again, we got another covered wagon thing for those that are golfing. You probably can still golf there that time of year. There's a bunch of things. This side-by-side ATV, I don't know how easy to be getting in and out of it. There's this Denali Natural History Tour. I believe that is the one we're doing. It's a 4.5 hour trip into
is that the one where you get out from time to time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So if I might be able to do that if because you're not on the bus for a full 5 hours. You get out and look at overlooks, and then you get out and look anyway. So
Yeah.
it's and you get out for quite a while. So if I could get my wheelchair underneath and lay back in my wheelchair every couple hours, that would make a big difference.
Yeah, or just maybe even just walking
What is a
around.
wave tour? I haven't figured that out.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, there's a lot of. Oh, there you go. There's a picture. Whitewater
Okay.
rafting, ATV adventures.
Gets a little bit more strenuous.
Yeah, you can do a zip line. Oh, scroll back. Go back so you can see there's some colors, and I'm kind of expecting that's the time of year we're going to be there. You can see it on the one on the far right as well. Okay, let's scroll down. So treasure hunt, just a bunch of different things that you can do there.
What? Oh, photography workshop.
Yeah, fly fishing. If you want to go fly fishing, you can fish for Arctic grayling. But again, some of these will be pretty tight because of the tour to Denali, which is included, and then you've got to deal with the, you got to leave at 10 the next morning. So some of these may not work. You might be able to trade out or not go into Denali if you've been there or don't want to go to Denali. That'd be to do one of these others.
Yeah, and we haven't been to Denali, so that's going to be a big deal for us.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay. We're not sure. I'm sorry. We're not sharing the right screen.
Oh, we're not sharing the right screen. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we'll go back up and just scroll through these real quickly.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's the Music of Denali show. That's a 2-hour wheelchair accessible. The kennel tour, like you said, they don't have accessible transportation to that kennel. The glass class looks like a lot of fun to me. I like art, but I want to do Denali first, the first time I go here. Then there's all types of stuff, a wagon adventure again, golfing. The rest of these are more for, this is probably the tour we're doing, this Denali Nature History Tour. And that's the one where we said we'll probably, it'll stop periodically so you can get off and move around and I can lay back in my wheelchair, hopefully, and then that would work for me. The wave tour is, there's the canyon wave tour. Anyway, and then it gets to be more strenuous activities farther down here. But there's quite a few options. If you have family going with you, I'm sure they'll find something to do. And then they as always, we kind of put it by price on here, so you get down to the bottom. But so that's quite a bit. There's really a lot of choices there. As I said, we haven't been to Denali before, so that's what our priority is.
Yeah. So, and like I said, that's probably your best chance for wildlife sightings is in Denali, because they pretty much that's where they're easier to find. There's a good chance on the train we'll see some. There's a good chance that you might see some, and at the other lodge. But hold on, sorry. Okay. But anyway, this is going to be pretty fantastic. I'm pretty sure of that. Okay. Oh, let me go move slides here to the right. Okay. We'll take a quick look at Denali. Okay, so that's the Denali Lodge is right by this river. You can see they're standing at the rail looking out over the river. And I think basically the town is the other side of the river from there. And so there's your choices of eating. You got more choices here. It's a little bigger resort, a few more things. Sourdough breakfast buffet sounds all right with me, and a salmon restaurant. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, we'll come back to this in just a second. Let's go back. Let's put this one back in. So our last stop is Fairbanks. In Fairbanks, we've got, again, some good choices. So this Gold Dredge 8 is a train ride, and you go out and you'll see it's like through an old mining village. It's a narrow gauge. I do believe it is a steam train. It is accessible all the way through this experience. The riverboat discovery is what's included. So when we get into Fairbanks, we'll get on this riverboat right here. It is fully accessible on the lower floor, accessible restrooms. When it stops, you'll have accessible ways to get off the ship and on shore. They do a couple of things that's pretty cool. So we'll see if we can pull it up.
Scroll up.
Yeah. So you go out on this river. Probably won't be any salmon in the river, but you'll stop at the home of a Iditarod champion and meet some sled dogs. You'll go through a replica Athabascan Indian village where there'll be some things to show you about that.
We interviewed these. Did we interview
Yeah,
these?
we interviewed this.
We have a video about this company and the cruise ship, and they've been on that. Anyway, they've been in this boating business for years, and it sounds very interesting, and we've been wanting to go for a couple of years.
Yeah, and they actually run the train and the gold dredge too. And so one of the things that you can do, it depends on whether you stay, because you can do the gold dredge and the riverboat as a combo. So it's kind of, and again, that one's an accessible trip. Aurora Borealis viewing, we have a chance. If we have clear skies, the odds are pretty good that we might see the Aurora Borealis. If the skies are cloudy, no chance. It is what it is. This is pretty cool too. You have the Chena Hot Springs and Ice Museum, and this is about 60 miles out of town. I'm working now to check on accessible transport to get out there. But there's an ice museum you can go in, and you can sit on an ice chair at an ice bar drinking a mixed drink out of an ice glass.
Okay, nice view, Ken.
But they provide you parkas and all that. And they also have a hot springs there that is wheelchair accessible. They have a wheelchair to get you down into the water.
Okay, I'll be in the water and you go to the ice.
Yeah, I probably want to go in, that's for sure. This other one, I'm thinking that you might be able to do this Salmon Bank and Palace Theater review after the riverboat discovery. I'm going to check on that and verify timing, because I think that'd be pretty cool. If you've never been to a salmon bake and you like salmon, check on those. Okay. But I think that's a pretty good choice. So there's several things that I'd like to do. Also, and this is one of the reasons I'm going to stay in Fairbanks, is there are a lot of accessible things to do in Fairbanks. There's an old car museum. There is a history museum. I think there's a total of 3 museums in town that are all accessible. Transportation in Fairbanks, the public transportation is accessible. So you can catch a bus and move around fairly easily. Like I said, in Talkeetna, I think you can get a cab okay. I'm not sure about an accessible cab in Fairbanks.
And Pam says she's like me. She wants to relax. Yeah, that's what I plan on doing at least a couple of these days, because the other days are going to be busy. Yeah, buffet sounds good. Okay. Yep. I think it all sounds great. I think we're going to have a great time.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. And, and the pricing's really good. And what I would say to anybody that's listening that might be interested in going, you can put a deposit down. Right now, it was $125 the other day. It changes a little bit depending on the promos they're running. I think the pricing on the trip is pretty good considering it's 10 days. You have all of these things that you get to see. A couple of these tours, like this Riverboat Discovery Cruise, which is built in, is $100 cruise. So, I mean, $100 excursion right there. The train, the bus into Denali was about the same. So you wind up with some, what in my opinion is good value. Let me go back to here. Okay, so let's talk about, so the meals on the rail cars at the lodges and at hotels are your own expense. So that means that once you get off the ship, the food is yours to buy. Okay, let's go to the next one. Here's typical price ranges. And this was compiled by Princess, but you can see stuff can get pretty expensive. So what they do, and you got to look at part of it. You have to look at what you're going to do. So if you're going to do the salmon bake review, that's going to take one dinner that you don't need to buy. But let's go down to the next slide. Princess does offer a meal package that you can pre-purchase. We're the bottom one right there, which is 2 breakfasts, one lunch, and 3 dinners. So if you don't do the salmon bake, then you're pretty much going to need 3 dinners. You need Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. Breakfast you won't need on Saturday because you have breakfast on the ship. Why we only get 1 lunch, I don't know, but we only get 1 lunch. But anyway, that's $300. So you think about how you like to eat. The breakfast is an entree and your juice and your coffee. Lunch is an appetizer or a dessert, an entree, and your drink. Lunch is an appetizer, entree, and dessert. So that's what's included in that package.
The last one you meant was dinner. You
Yeah.
said lunch twice.
Oh, did I say lunch twice? I'm sorry. The last one was dinner.
Yep.
My mouth gets ahead of my brain
And
sometimes.
then if you're like us, sometimes if we're on a budget, if we're trying to run around and do a lot of things, instead of 3 whole meals, we'll just, pack a box or 2 of meal bars and just, go with that and some water and skip 1 meal.
Yeah, and there's a good chance we'll do that. Like I said, I don't know. I'm gonna sort that out.
So Rhonda's got an answer now back to Pam here. She says, Pam, I might be able to do the cruise, but I have another cruise in New England departing September 18th. Oh, wow. So that would be a pretty busy month there.
Yeah, well, and we can, I'm pretty sure if you want to go with the group, Rhonda, you can do it as a cruise only. You can PM me about that if you want some help checking on that. But that would be one of those things. The cruise would be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. I have never done the interior of Alaska, so I'm really looking forward to doing that.
Pam would like to meet you, Rhonda.
We're kind of, like I said, I'm kind of tinkering with the idea about doing something after Fairbanks. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure if we're going to fly home directly or if we may do something different before we fly home. I've got to sort that out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, actually, we are looking forward to everything. I think it's going to be a great trip.
But for anybody that's watching, you can just put a note in the comments. I'll respond to it. And then we can, we can share with you the details of it. If you're in the Facebook group, I posted it once. I'll post it again. Actually, I'll post it, or Cheryl will post it today, probably just the Alaska piece of it, because it'll have all of that, and I'll check the current pricing on it, so that we can give everybody the latest update. But we're looking forward to it. We love Alaska.
You mean cruise only?
What?
Did you say I'm going to post the cruise only part of it?
Well, I'll check the cruise only, but I'll also check the. I was going to post the pricing for the. Actually, it probably won't be tonight. It'll probably be tomorrow. But check the pricing for the package as well. The specials change every once in a while. Yeah, Pam says New England. See, Rhonda, we're doing New England on Cunard in October. Cunard. I got to learn to say Cunard. It doesn't look like Cunard. And I got to get a little more stuffy, like it's Cunard.
Oh, no. Do not. I think we're going to have a great time. And I was talking to we went to a trade show recently, and just like an afternoon trade show, and talked to a woman who just said she used to work for Cunard and that it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So, yeah,
we're looking forward to that. That'll be our first upscale cruise line. If you, for those of you that haven't cruised Princess is, like I said, we talked about it last week. In my opinion, Princess is the best choice for Alaska. They just do some things that nobody else does. Yeah, I don't think it does Halifax. I don't think it only has a few stops, but we get a couple of days of cruising up the St. Lawrence Seaway, and we get an overnight. It's funny because you board one day and you spend that night still in Quebec City, and then we sail out of Quebec the following afternoon.
I think it only goes to 4 places.
Yeah.
4, so.
Oh, you're on with Gary Gainbridge's group cruise. Oh, very cool, Rhonda. We're going to try to do some more of these group cruises. For anybody that's interested, there's still, I believe, space on the Holland America to the 18-day we're going on to Hawaii. And we're looking forward to that as well. We think that's going to be a lot of fun.
It's definitely going to be good for me because it'll be lots of relaxing.
Yeah, Cheryl's looking forward to it. Cheryl loves sea days because that means she can get up and eat breakfast and go back to bed. And then she can get up and eat lunch and go back to bed. And then she can get up and eat lunch and dinner.
I'm just not rushing around. We can video the whole ship. We'll have plenty of time without rushing.
Anyway, thanks to everybody for joining us. And for those of you watching on the replay, if you're not subscribed, I always appreciate it if you do. And we'll see everybody next Sunday. We'll talk about the packing for Alaska because Alaska is one of those places that you have to pack a little different. It's kind of like a Cunard cruise, but different. Because on a Cunard cruise, you have to pack different, but it's more dressy. On Alaska, it's more warmer layers, rain gear, all of those things. We wish you could go with us to Hawaii too, Pam.
Maybe after one of these days, I want to do the one they take all the way to Tahiti.
Yeah, there's a 27-day round trip to Tahiti.
So maybe if we sell enough, if we work hard enough, we can make enough videos. We can do that one in 2 or 3 years, Pam. Maybe you can join us to that one.
Anyway, we'll see everybody next Sunday. Have a good week.
Bye.